Hey guys, it's been a while, a long time. I haven't posted on this channel in years. I think the last time I posted, I don't even know if you remember, it was like probably a travel video or something in like 2020. Was it before COVID? Maybe 2019? I don't know. I haven't posted on this channel in a really long time, is what I'm trying to say. But I've decided that I wanted to start like kind of documenting my life now as an adult in their mid-20s, post-college, because I think the last videos that I posted, I was still in college, and I don't even think I was in my 20s. Maybe I just had turned 20. So now I'm 25, I'm turning 26 this summer. It's April 13th, 2025. And so I'll update you guys on like what's happened, where I've been. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind these last few years since I last posted. I graduated college. I thought I was going to finish my master's within a year. Ended up not finishing my last two classes. I'm hoping to finish those last two courses this summer so I can officially have my master's in exercise science. Yeah, and my nephew was born a week ago actually today he was born. Wow, that's crazy. He's a week old. I just saw him yesterday for the first time since the hospital. He's so cute. Loves to sleep, loves to eat. He's a true Raquel. But yeah, and then now I have had some experience professionally in like different places for my career. So if you didn't know, I was pursuing my education career to be a teacher, a PE teacher specifically. And you know, it was something that I wasn't really for sure about. Like, I was kind of hesitant because I had started studying physical education, and like ultimately I thought that I was going to love it from the start in college. And then my junior year, I literally started hating it. I did not like my major. I did not want to be a PE teacher anymore. I didn't know if I wanted to do teaching at all. It was rough because I was just like kind of lost. And I don't know, man. I went through a time period for a while for the last few years since college, like from junior year till now, of like questioning my career choices. Ended up finishing my degree, my bachelor's in physical education and health. Got a job right out of college. I was really desperate to get a job because everybody else was securing a job, and I wish I would have taken a gap year of just like subbing or like working like part-time and kind of just figuring things out before I rushed into career or to a job full-time, because I went straight into full-time PE teaching in a school district that actually I didn't love. I didn't like the people I worked with for the most part. There was a few people I did enjoy working with, but it was a really toxic work environment from the get-go. Like my first year, there was a whole situation of sexual harassment within the department I was working in. It was so awful. I'm not going to go into the details of that for the sake of their privacy, but also the school district. But it was just not fun. And I was like a first-year teacher, and I was like, this is not what I envisioned my first year in my career to be, which was tons of drama, tons of stress. Then going in my second year at that same school district, same school with same people, it was good for like the first half, and then it just got worse the second half. And it was a very toxic work environment. Not saying that everybody I worked with was toxic. I'm not saying that the whole school was bad. I loved teaching my students. That was the best part of my job, was my students. However, I felt like the environment was the thing that was really tearing me down, and I didn't realize it at first. So when I was teaching those first 2 years in that school district, at that school, I thought I hated teaching. I was burnt out. I was driving to and from work crying. I didn't have a break. I literally was leaving every moment I could, like on my break, to go outside of the school because I just couldn't handle being in that environment. On my free time, if I didn't have to be there. So during my lunches, I always left for lunch. I always left the building. I always went somewhere else because I was like, I literally can't handle this. This place is draining me. Then it took me all of summer after my second year to determine if I was going to go back to that school district or not, because I was like, I hated the interview process of all these different schools I interviewed for the first time when I graduated from college. And it was just like, I was very discouraged. I was questioning my choices. I was questioning if I wanted to even be a teacher anymore, if I wanted to leave teaching. because teaching at the time back then and still now, it's a teacher shortage, and a lot of people are leaving teaching. They say it's really not the same, and it's true. Kids are not the same either. But I was really struggling if I wanted to go back to that school district or not, if I wanted to take a break or not. At this point, I had moved out of my house with my parents and started living on my own. I had my own place. And I was really struggling because I was like, financially, am I going to be able to support myself? No, if I don't have a full-time job. I only had that first full-time job for the first time ever, very minimal wage, very small salary. And then I also worked part-time as a swim coach, and I still do. But I didn't know what to do. And sorry, my ADHD is bringing me all over the place. I'm trying to bring it back around. But anyways, yeah, it was just tough. And the last 2 months of my second year teaching, I almost resigned. I almost quit and left mid-year. And I know that if I would have done that in the state of Illinois, like you have the chance to get your license suspended. And I didn't want to do that because I needed to know that I was going to be able to have a job if I was living on my own. Because I was going through a lot of personal stuff. Heartbreak, family problems, all the things. And then I was struggling with trying to find out like who I was. And yeah, it was just tough. So I almost quit. Then I decided not to. My mom was the one who really encouraged me to just stick it out and just finish my school year, and then I could determine if I wanted to go back or not. Well, then I ended up resigning at the end of the summer that year. That was 2023, I think? 2023, I believe. That was the year. August 2023, I resigned. It was like 30 days until the next school year was about to start. Thankfully, it didn't ruin anything because HR had to get involved, and they thought that I was gonna have to go through this whole thing, and they were like, actually, you're fine because you're not a tenured teacher, like you can resign, it's okay. And I hated doing that to the school district. I hated putting them in that position to find someone last minute, but I had to do what was best for me. I couldn't stay at that school, I couldn't stay in that district any longer than I needed to be because it was really messing with my mental health, my physical health, my spiritual health. I was really struggling with my faith in Jesus. I was struggling with who I was, like I said. I started gaining weight. I started isolating myself from people I didn't really want to hang out, and then started drinking and using again, which, if you don't know a part of my story, when I was younger, I struggled with substance abuse, but through college, end of high school through college, I got help, so I don't, do that anymore, and I actually don't really drink anymore at all, so that's good. Sorry, I'm being super vulnerable right now. Wow. Hopefully this doesn't scare you. But I'm just trying to be real because like it's part of my story, and I was just struggling a lot these past few years since posting on YouTube. And I just want to update you guys on like what's been going on. I know I don't have a big channel, but like it's still kind of fun to like post on here, and I think it's important that people aren't scared of just their vulnerability all the time. And I think it's good to be vulnerable in certain aspects because you want to be able to be relatable. You want to let people know that they're not alone in feeling the ways that they do if it's something similar. You also got to be careful with your vulnerability and not like allowing people to use that against you. So it's kind of a thing for me to be vulnerable after the fact. And I'm only vulnerable during something with like a therapist or like a family member or close friend that I trust. But anyways, going back, my ADHD again. To what I was saying, I took a gap year after my 2 years of teaching. I took a gap year. I was only working part-time as a swim coach. I was door dashing. I was trying to figure out ways to make money. I had to have my parents, unfortunately, were helping me make ends meet because I was really struggling with that. And during that time, I became very sedentary. If you didn't know, I was an athlete. I was a student athlete all my life. I was a swimmer, a competitive swimmer. And when I was younger, I tried all the sports. When I was in middle school, I did volleyball, basketball, swimming, track. And then as I got older, I had to pick swimming, and that was where I ended up getting scholarships to go swim. Ended up swimming in college for 4 years. And, being someone who has a degree in like exercise science, physical education, health education, things like that, I was always super into fitness, your health, wellness, things like that. Yet that gap year, I was really struggling with it. I became very sedentary, like I said. I wasn't eating healthy. I was eating out all the time, ordering food, wasn't really cooking, wasn't really taking care of myself, wasn't sleeping, wasn't really moving. I wasn't like leaving my apartment for the most part. I had a walking pad, but I like barely used it. I didn't really go to the gym anymore. I was like working out here and there, but it wasn't consistent. It was just bad, overall bad. I was isolating myself from people. And then when I stopped that isolation period, I was just going out and like just hanging out with people, and it was just not good for me. And during that time period of that gap year, I was like, I really need to find myself. I need to figure out what to do because I have no money. I am the worst I've ever been. I'm scared. Was genuinely the thing that I was thinking. It was like I was just scared of like who I was becoming, what I had become, where I was going, because I was going nowhere. And I felt very down. That same gap year, I met someone, we dated, ended up getting heartbroken. Won't go into the details of that. We're not in contact anymore. He really messed me up in the head. But I didn't cry over it. It was more of like, it was kind of like a wake-up call, not gonna lie, of like, what the heck am I doing? I had gotten distant from my habits of like praying and reading my Bible, and like my faith was very, very, very like just non-existent. My relationship with God was pretty much non-existent as well. It was kind of here and there, but I wasn't like, and yeah, and then that heartbreak happened, and then it made me realize I needed to figure out my life. And during that time period, I was still coaching, but then I decided to go back to teaching somehow, because during that gap year, I realized it wasn't the teaching that was the problem. It was the environment where I was before that really ruined my experience of teaching. And so I ended up sub-teaching in 2 different districts, and through subbing, I found a connection through a school and through a district to become a PE teacher again. And it was in a different capacity. I'm now an adaptive PE teacher, so I teach students in special education. They are the best thing ever. It is hard a lot. I'm still learning a lot about it, but I enjoy it. It's a lot more paperwork than it is, I feel like, teaching. But I still enjoy the teaching part. I still enjoy getting to see the progression in my students, getting to show them different sports, different activities, different ways to be healthy, teaching life skills, teaching them how to follow directions, how to listen, how to, all these different things. A lot of my students are nonverbal, so like using their communication devices to communicate how they feel, things like that, what they want. So it's a lot different that has been going on this year, because from the time I was subbing to the time now where I'm full-time teaching in adaptive physical education, and I'm still some coaching part-time, the person I am now is so totally different from who I was, from the struggles that I went through. And I still struggle with my faith. I still struggle with my relationship with God and consistency and going to church and all these things and reading my Bible, praying. I'm trying to get better at it. I started getting better at being consistent in my fitness. So I've been working out. I lift pretty much 5 days a week. I try to swim at least once a week right now until summer, because that's when I'll start getting back into it like every day like I used to. I had found out that I was extremely vitamin D deficient, which was causing a lot of my health issues: joint pain, knee pain, back pain, getting sick all the time, gaining weight and having a really hard time losing it. And right now I'm on the track to starting to eat healthier again, sleeping better, taking better care of myself. And another thing that I'm trying to work on is like my financial health, is like being smart with my money. And I got to start paying off my student loans and like any like medical bills and things like that. So there's just a lot that is going on. And as a 25-year-old woman who literally feels like a lot of her like early 20s was like taken from her because of like mental health, physical health problems, like just struggles in my career, struggle with finding who I am, struggle with family and friend problems, all these different things. Felt like my early 20s was really stripped from me, and I didn't really get to enjoy that part of my life. And I know I'm still young, I'm 25, turning 26, like not that old, obviously. But I felt like a lot of the part of my life where I wanted that freedom, where I wanted that joy to travel, to do what I wanted, to enjoy what I was doing, to be the healthiest and the best I could be, I kind of missed out on that. And now I've realized it's time to take it into my own hands. Like I can't be making excuses anymore for the way that I was living my life, for the way I am living my life. So yeah, I've been slowly but surely like really taking strides to better myself. I've gone through a lot of heartbreak, made a lot of mistakes, not the same person I was. And so I guess I really just wanted to start documenting that here. Honestly, kind of for my sake. I don't really care, honestly, if people watch this or not, if people judge me or not. I stopped caring about what people thought about me a while ago. Probably probably during the time when I moved out of my apartment. That's when I really kind of stopped caring about what people thought about me, because I didn't care about myself either. But truthfully, I don't want to do it to get like validation or have, instant gratification or anything like that. It's more of like, I'm doing this for myself. Like I want to document my journey. And if that helps someone along the way, cool. If people don't watch this, whatever. Like, it's not about that. It's truly about growth, and just living life. I think people have lost that vision, that true meaning of life, of just like going through tough stuff. It's not all going to be rainbows and butterflies. It's not all going to be everything you want it to be. And a lot of times I've learned you have to just trust God. And if you don't believe in God, just trust the process. Because if life was only just the good things, what would be the purpose of it? Life wouldn't matter. And in my opinion, like, the struggles are really what makes life worth it, because going through the struggles to get to the goodness is so much better. And to just remember that, like, the struggles don't last forever, and it's all like, you can control what you can control and let everything else out and play out in life the way it's supposed to. Like, you can't control everything. You also got to just trust God with the process and remember that he's always there for you. And like, a lot of times rejection isn't what you think it is. Rejection is not necessarily always negative. It could just be redirection. And I've gone through a lot of rejection. I've gone through a lot of redirection, and it's honestly God protecting me from what I don't see, because I may want to do whatever I want to do. I have all these wants and desires of like this type of life that I want, or this kind of job that I want, this type of relationship where I want to, like, all these different things. But truly, like, that rejection, redirection, and protection means that there's something way better for you. And I would rather go through the struggles to get to something better for my life that God has in store for me, for his plan rather than my plan. Because if I only got what I want, like, life wouldn't be enjoyable. Like, I feel like I want to earn that. I feel like I want to work for that. If I don't earn that and work for it, it doesn't pay off, like, what's the point, And so that's really what this gap from when I last posted to now has been. It's just been finding out who I am, going through the struggles of truly figuring out my life as a young adult in my 20s. I don't know anything. I know coworkers who are in their 50s who say they still are figuring things out. Like, nobody ever knows what they're doing. They just pretend. You just kind of go through life. But at the same time, don't rob yourself of enjoying the present moment, because I was always someone who was very future minded. And one of my friends had actually on the phone was talking to me about that. Like, Elise, like, you're struggling with all of this stuff, because I was telling her about my mental health stuff. And she's like, don't rob yourself of enjoying the present. You're so focused on your future that you don't even realize that where you are now is where you used to wish you were back then. And it's so true. I used to wish I lived in my own. I used to wish I had a full-time job and a part-time job. I have achieved a lot of my dreams and goals. Now I got to create new dreams and goals that I have. And I wrote them down on New Year's with my friend in a journal. And like, a lot of them I'm working towards. And you know what? That's just life. It's like, you have to keep working towards things, and not just coasting, not just being complacent, not just being stagnant in where you are, because life is more than just being comfortable. Yes, being comfortable is a part of life. It's nice to have every now and then in your lifetime, but I think it's really important to keep learning, to keep growing and evolving as a human being, and being the best version that you can be of yourself. And I know I am nowhere near the best version of myself. I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of healing, a lot of figuring things out, and I'm okay with that. And I think, when you take those times of like isolation or like gap years or like time to like figure yourself out, like, it's important. I think social media doesn't really show that, because a lot of people want to show the highlights. A lot of people only want to see the highlights and the good things of like, oh, I want this, I want that, the envy, the jealousy of like, oh, like, I wish I had their lifestyle. I wish I could travel like they do. I wish I had all the money like they did. I wish I could do all the things, like, I wish I looked like that. No. Life is life, man. Like, social media is so, sorry, I'm getting like super into this, but social media is so targeted towards the good things pretty much in life. And I want people to remember that, like, when people don't post on social media, it's because they might be going through stuff. They might be working hard for something they might have disappeared because like major life situations happened. Some people could have like just, I don't know, like dropped off the face of the planet. Who knows? And I think it's super important to remember that, like, gap years, time apart from social media, struggles, all these things like aren't always shared, but I want you to know it happens, even to the people that look like they have their life together. And I guess I just want to show that. I want to show the struggles because like I said earlier, here's a struggle of mine. I'll be totally honest. I said that I was going to be focusing more on being better with my health and like eating right and fitness and all things. I went to McDonald's just now to get like a meal. And you know what? That's okay. Like, even though I've set myself up for like wanting to eat better, wanting to be more consistent, so I could lose the weight that I want, all these things. I'm okay. I'm allowed to like have a cheat meal, you know? Like, it's okay. Be gracious with yourself in the process. Like, if it makes you feel guilty, then you know, okay, don't do that again. I think everybody's just, their journeys are so different. Everybody's journeys are so different. And for me, I want to share that. And so anyways, I've been yapping for like 20 plus minutes. So I'll just let you guys go. But I hope you get to join along the journey that I'm going through, more that I'm going to be posting. Hopefully I'm going to be sharing a little bit more about my life. But yeah, we'll see where this journey takes me. We'll see where this goes. We'll see how consistent I am with posting, because I'm not always the best with it. But if you don't already follow me on like Instagram or TikTok, go ahead and follow me. My links are in my channel. Also in my Instagram, I have like shared that I'm doing a podcast. I haven't uploaded in a while, but I'm going to be starting to do more uploads of my podcasts this summer. And I really took some time this year to kind of isolate and figure out what I needed to figure out to find the courage to be vulnerable, to upload and share on YouTube, share on Instagram, share on TikTok, share on my podcasts of like, this is life, man. And I'm going to be totally real. I'm not going to pretend. And I'm going to stop like putting all these like filters and whatever. Like, anyways, my ADHD is so bad right now. I'm just going to end this before this gets any worse. But thank you for joining. I hope you stay along for the journey, like I said earlier. And we'll just see where it goes. All right. Peace out. Love you guys, and see you in the next one.